is that it's really about essentially something like alcoholism and how the kind of trauma and decay and debris of that is spread from generation to generation. And how in our own families when we grow up, often, I know all of you are incredibly wonderful parents and have no doubt raising your children to be nothing but healthy and in every way respectful and perfect on every level. But this is a lot about how family dynamics can be very complex and full of all kinds of damage. And what's interesting is that you have a family dynamic, but you spin this family dynamic around in such a way that it expresses in the writing how people think and what they say and what they don't say all at the same time. And you follow this young son who is going to Iraq and comes back from Iraq, and how this family dynamic sort of spins through and affects children and how children interact with each other through that. So by that I mean, in some ways in these family situations, there are many things which, even if you were to go into a friend's family, pick anybody, and you find after you've been there about an hour that you really feel terribly weird. Because you don't get any of the jokes, and it feels a little bit different, or a little bit like, something's going on, or you don't quite know, or you get to know a family over time, and everybody has their own way of communicating with each other. Well, you very much feel that in this family. And I'm not trying to make that complicated, but I would say it's probably, without much exaggeration, the most complicated and expressive and different kind of play that I've ever directed. In that the way it explains itself, the way people behave in this play and with each other is not like anything I've ever been able to direct. So someone might be talking in the scene and then say all the things they mean to say in the scene to the audience or to somebody else, or even to someone else at the same time, and they all happen all at once. Not at the same time, but they all happen in the scene itself. Not only all the things that someone might be really saying, like, how are you, how is lunch, but all the things you were really feeling at the same time. And that happens kind of throughout the piece. And you don't always know when it's happening. We try to help you now. Until finally, there are, so you get to inside of what I would call the mechanism or machine of a family's apparatus through the drama as much as you do anything else. It's like everything else of Craig's. It is very funny. It is very much not like anything else. A lot of simultaneous events happen at once. And you find yourself falling in love with this family and being pulled in by this family and by the complexity of the family and everything else. At the same time, there is a separate story running parallel to this story of a woman who's taking care of her mother and has a boyfriend. She's wondering whether she should dump him or not. And these stories sort of track toward each other at the same time until eventually they run into each other. And crazy, terrible things happen. Now, that must no doubt make you feel very relaxed. When it comes to actually trying to come and see the play. But it's really, truly extraordinary. I can actually honestly say I have no idea what it's going to go like on first preview. Not because, anything terrible can happen to anybody, like some accident or something, but in fact because the experience of it is going to be so interesting to see what audiences take away from it, whether it's moving or not, or, all that.